This is the garden party, and we want a garden party with you. We'll talk about the plants we grow and some things you might not know. The garden party. Like and subscribe. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of The Garden Party. This is Thanksgiving week, so why not do a Thanksgiving episode? We're coming to y'all early so y'all can watch this on Thanksgiving, while your body is swollen with turkey and ham and sweet potatoes. So my name is Destin Nowak, Texas Garden Guy. Yes, I did shave with my wife's razor earlier, so my face is so smooth. It feels so amazing right now. I always like to throw a dumb fact in at the beginning. But yeah, let's go ahead and introduce Vikram. Vikram, go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Hi, I'm Vikram Baliga. I am the plant prof, unfortunately everywhere. And I'm a professor at Texas Tech University, and I mostly yell about bananas on the internet and 5-minute crafts and stuff.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Janey. Is it Janey or Janey?
It's Janey with an N.
Perfect.
My name is Janey Santos, and my account is called Dig Plant Water Repeat. I live out in California. I used to say I was a beginning amateur gardener, but I've been doing this intensely for the past couple years. So now it's kind of become, more than a passion, kind of like an obsession, I would say. So I do YouTube videos 5 days a week and then dabble a little bit in Instagram. And my focus, I'm a little intimidated to be around all of you because my focus is actually flowers as opposed to vegetables. But Derek said that was okay. So
It's just as important. Flowers are just as important.
I
Absolutely.
agree.
Absolutely. Five videos a week on YouTube. That is insane.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
It's full time for sure, but it's so fun. It's my job now, so I get to do what I love for my job. So it's awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Resh, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure. So, hi everyone. My name is Resh. My handle on Instagram is at Resh Gala, which is RESHGALA. And I'm basically an organic gardener from New Jersey. I design and install edible organic gardens for people. So it's not just, landscaping, but it's more like just edibles. And that includes edible flowers, herbs, vegetables, things like that.
Wow.
And apart from that, I recently wrote a book, which is going to be out December 19th. It's called, yes, I'm so excited. It's called Vegetable Gardening Made Easy. And that's currently available on pre-order at Amazon, Target, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, etc. However, I guess the most important part of my story is that I'm just an ordinary gardener. I don't have any degree in agriculture or horticulture, things like that. And I learned gardening from my own mistakes, like I think, most people do, right?
Absolutely.
And my company is called 100 Tomatoes, which is, an ode to my love for growing tomatoes. So
that's awesome.
So I would love to, know what all of you do as well. And especially cut flowers sounds so fascinating too. But yeah, I'm on the vegetable side of things right now.
That's awesome. So I work with a company called Vigo Gardens. They make the red metal raised beds. Yeah. Have you noticed a lot of people incorporating raised garden beds into their landscapes as a landscape designer? Has that been a big thing since like the pandemic?
I think it's been a huge thing because I think most of us, we can attest to the fact that our native soil isn't perfect. Especially, here in New Jersey, we have a very heavy clay soil. If you live elsewhere, it could be very, sandy. So it's hard to amend your soil naturally and organically. And if you do add compost and things like that, it can take several years before you get the perfect organic soil that's right for growing veggies easily. And I think most home gardeners, especially, they want, instant gratification. I think all of us do in every aspect of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for them to have success, I would highly recommend that they grow in raised beds. And I think that's what is the trend right now, that you can just customize your soil that you put in your raised beds and then get started like right away. So it's a much easier way to grow. Yeah.
You mean you can't just put eggshells and banana peels in your soul and it just automatically? That's what TikTok says. You just put a bunch of,
Overnight,
20
minutes,
I
good to
yeah.
go.
Oh, I wish that was the case, but I do collect eggshells. In fact, just day before yesterday, I put some pulverized eggshells, but in my compost bin, but not in my raised beds, because then the worms love it and it breaks down faster. And then when you add that compost to your garden, it's a little bit more, nutrient rich.
See, I've heard eggshells are probably the biggest one for me. I've heard a lot of conflicting data on
Yeah.
eggshells. I think we talked about this a couple episodes ago, but eggshells take a long time to break down.
Mhm.
One of the many benefits of eggshells is kind of like with diatomaceous earth. That if you put it out, I guess the like the ants and certain slugs and worms, it damages them when they like try to go across it. Um, and so someone was saying that eggshells can have more of a benefit like that. Slugs and snails don't. But then they were saying someone else had told me that if you were to put eggshells like in your compost, they can have the same effect. That actually it could hurt earthworms in the compost unless they were like completely pulverized. I guess I don't know. What do you think, Vikram? You're the debunker.
I think that if you're composting well, it's fine. I think breaking down things into the smallest pieces possible
Yeah.
before you put them in your compost is going to speed the process, kind of regardless of what you're putting in.
Yeah.
In fact, there are these companies that sell these like countertop composter
That's what I use.
things,
Yeah.
and that's the basic idea, right? They're pulverizing whatever's in there into smaller and smaller and smaller bits, trying to speed the process along. And there's some, again, conflicting data about, are we calling this like how quickly is that still releasing nutrients, because you still have to have microbial activity and all that. But
Right.
I'm a big proponent of throw your eggshells and stuff into your compost.
Yeah.
I just crush them up. I don't necessarily even pulverize them, and I'll mix them in, and as long as I think you're turning it and all of that, as it works its way down, it'll start to crush up and get a little bit finer as you go.
Yeah, for sure. I'm more of I'm more of a proponent of keeping it out of the landfill. If I can, I mean, if it, that's my
Totally.
thing. Since I started using like my raised bed composters, I've really cut down on a lot of stuff that goes in my trash can. I probably cut my trash down like 30%. Like I want to say I know some people say don't shred your cardboard and put it in the compost. I still do. And that's cut out of going into the landfill as well. I've heard differing things about cardboard as well, and newspaper. I've seen a bunch of videos of people not using cardboard in their gardens anymore.
I think for just to go back to the eggshells,
Yeah,
I've learned that if you're doing vermicomposting, like worm composting, eggshells are actually super important for
really.
vermicomposting. Yeah. And so I actually have a vermicomposter that I'm going to put under my sink, and I'm saving my shells that I'm going to blend in my blender. But don't quote me on this. I don't think it's food, but I think it's like grit that they need for that
Okay.
Yeah.
to continue things kind of going, like working through the the
Right.
digestive tract. That's what I've always heard, that's really important for eggshells for worms. So I think, Resh, I think that's what you were saying, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
100%.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're 100% right. I did a post recently about, using eggshells in my compost, and exactly right. The grittiness when you pulverize it essentially in like a coffee grinder, so it's
Yeah.
like a fine powder. Of
Yeah.
course, number one, anything that's, cut down into smaller bits helps it break down faster, of course, which is
Right.
what all of us want, right?
Bill, are you there? Can you hear us?
I can hear you guys.
Okay, good.
Cool.
All
Oh,
right.
you're very small on my screen.
It says Phil's. It says Phil's Figa is what it says.
Oh my gosh, I'm having one of those days, guys. I really apologize.
Oh my goodness.
Don't worry
Well,
about it. It's almost Thanksgiving.
absolutely.
100% is. And guess what? I didn't even travel. I went
Oh,
nowhere. Still here.
Oh my goodness. Well, he's late, but I guess better late than never. Phil, welcome in, dude. This is Janey and I want to pronounce it right. Resh.
Raish is
Yes.
correct.
And
Perfect.
then Vikram.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Janey,
All right.
Resh, so nice to meet you guys. I
Nice
am
to meet you,
very,
Phil.
Nice
very
to meet
sorry
you
I'm late.
too.
It's okay.
It was mostly, yeah, I just had my fig tree. I have to blame myself as a parent because I was waiting to get pizza and someone ordered it and it was just really packed in there and non-negotiable. My son had to be Spider-Man. And so I was sitting there with Spider-Man for more than I needed to.
Aw, that's
But
very sweet. Okay,
he
you're
was a trooper.
excused. You're
Yes.
excused, Phil, for that.
If I was a kid, I would dress like Spider-Man every day if I could.
Every
Well,
day.
then,
Every
yeah,
day.
that's George for you. So,
Oh my goodness. Well, Fig, since you're late, I'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself real quick, and then we'll get back to putting stuff in compost.
oh, perfect. Okay. Hey, everyone. Sorry I'm late. It's Phil from Phil's Figs on Instagram and occasionally YouTube. And I'm stoked to be here yet again. It's always a pleasure and it's always an honor.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
All right. So, eggshells in the compost, Rach. I'm sorry. Who was talking about the eggshells in the compost? I don't know. You really screwed us up here, Phil.
Listen, I put too many
No.
eggs in the compost too. So I'll fall on the sword all hour. Just let me
Oh
know.
my.
We were talking about calcium, I think, in the compost material and into the soil, and yeah, it does add some calcium into it as they break down and other stuff as well. And depending on where you are, that could be like super important. Where I am, we actually limit some things that we put into our compost and other materials to reduce the amount of calcium we put out. We have very high pH soils, lots of calcium carbonate in the soil, so we have to kind of manage our inputs into the soil a little bit, even with our inputs into compost, because it can change our soil dynamics and actually make like nutrient binding worse. But yeah, if you're in a clay soil, if you're somewhere with a lot of leaf material on the ground, all that, the more calcium, the better. It's going to help solve a lot of problems.
Do y'all collect like scraps from the cafeteria at the university, like for the compost, or how does that work?
So, yeah, I laugh because we've had that conversation about like we should be composting on a large scale, and we talked to some different folks around campus about it, and they were like, well, this regulation and that regulation. I'm like, okay, I don't want to fight about this, but that is something that as we try to green our university and world a little bit better, those kinds of things are becoming options. And there's a new recycling center they just put in on campus, or collection site on campus, and
that's cool.
I think we're going to get there, but that's at the university level, especially one the size of ours, like the ship turns pretty slowly.
Yeah.
And so we're working on those things.
Yeah, there's a lot of bureaucratic stuff that's got to happen behind the scenes to make certain things. Speaking of like large scale, I had heard, so we have a trash can and a recycling can that comes every other Thursday. Did y'all hear like that? They were like saying studies say only like 30% of everything that goes like in your recycling can actually goes to the recycling center.
Yeah, I
I've heard worse
know.
numbers than 30.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard
Yeah.
that.
I'm being optimistic with 30.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so sad. Yeah. All the plant pots, right? Every single black plant pot just missed, right? They can't get it. So that's why a lot of companies are changing to lighter plant pots that I heard, which I think helps a little, but still rough to see that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
And I think one of the messages all of us could give out for Thanksgiving, especially when everybody's going to be cooking these large dinners for their family, is to, don't throw it in the dustbin. Instead, compost all the veggie scraps, fruit peels, whatever best you can, so important. And I think when we start at the individual level, and that's how it kind of builds and grows, right? Because it's hard to change the systems. But if you start from the bottoms up, I think that's, much more impactful, at least, yeah.
I think the answer is chickens. Like to a lot of, I think more people should have chickens, because a lot of the times, you watch these guys like Justin Rhodes and stuff, and Joel Salatin, and the chickens and the pigs will do the composting for you. You're just throwing your scraps out there. They're flipping it and rotating it and stuff. My subdivision does not allow me to have chickens, but I feel like it should be illegal, like for everybody to have like at least 3 chickens. I think there was like a study in Sweden.
It was Belgium.
Where, Belgium, where
Yeah.
you know exactly. Yeah, so they offered everybody in one city 3 free chickens, and like they were sharing with their neighbors and trading for like with eggs for other items, and it was a really cool idea. You know, I think more people should have chickens. I want chickens. If I could beat my HOA, I'm already pushing it with a giant greenhouse in the back. Uh, you know, so
Shed.
I really wish it's a shed. It's basically a giant shed.
It's a shed.
Yeah.
So I have a
No.
question for you all.
Yeah.
I have a question for you all about composting. I've recently moved from a neighborhood to about an acre out here in California, and the property I moved on has the tumbling composters, some old ones. But I was thinking about when I was moving out here to make one of those 3-bin composters that you turn over. Do you all have opinions on what method you like better?
The 3-bin, I like the 3-bin better.
Mm, okay.
It's going to be a more complete rotation. You can do a 3-bin, but you can even expand it to more than that. But the tumblers are nice. The tumblers are nice if you have like a small backyard. You
Yeah.
want to put it on your patio. It will leak out some nasty stuff, but you can put a bin under there and actually like collect compost tea
Gotcha.
as
Yeah.
well. One of the cooler ones I've seen is a guy, Jason Smith, that Sowed the Land. He had this IBC tote and he raised it up on cinder blocks and he actually filled it with worms and would throw like his scraps and stuff into the IBC tote, mix it up, and then he had the IBC tote with the nozzle on the bottom, and the bucket would drain like all the compost tea into like a bucket.
Oh,
You know, so like
interesting.
so he would do like the inline compost. What is it called? Whenever he does his inline water system, he would infuse that compost into it.
Oh,
So
wow.
there's a bunch of different ways to do it.
Mhm.
I just feel like if I had the option, chickens, I would just have a deep wood chip, you know, coop and be tossing stuff in there all the time.
Yes.
And flipping it. You go out there with like a pitchfork and flip it, and they'll just scratch around and do all the work for you. It's
So-
easier. It's easier said than done, I guess. I don't know. I don't have them. I wish I did. I wish I had
So,
some chickens.
so 3 bins and as many chickens as you can handle.
Okay.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Okay, thanks.
My neighbor has a dozen chickens, and we got rid of all of our Halloween pumpkins with those chickens. They went in and shredded them up, and it was awesome. And you're like, that is like
They'll
a
eat-
win-win right there.
They'll
Yeah.
eat just about anything. Like
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
little velociraptors. Like they'll eat whatever they can get.
They will eat other chickens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Like, I think if you can do it and if you have the time to manage it, a 3-bin system or a multiple bin system is the way to go. You again get a more complete product, and you always have something that you're feeding instead of just feeding the same thing. And sort of like you can have a finished product down at the end, but it does take more time. It does take more effort and space, like you're saying. And that's so awesome that you have like the space to do it now.
Now I have the
Congratulations on that.
space. Thank you. So
Yeah.
now I have the space, but then there's these, spinning composters here, and it's like, what do I do? So
They're fine. Like they work.
yeah.
So I'm a little bit biased, I would say, just because I have 2 tumbling composters
Oh, okay.
at home
All
in my
right.
backyard, and I love them. They work so effectively. I think one is a Yimby, which is how I started, which is like the less expensive version. And that has been creating like cold compost for me, which is is also a good thing, because it's high in fungal activity. And then I have the Jora composter. So I graduated to that one, and that creates hot compost, and it literally turns my kitchen scraps and things like that into compost in literally maybe 4 months, the Jora.
Wow.
And so the reason I like it is, number one, it looks, like if you have an acre, of course, and you have the time, then you can do that 3-bin system. But if you don't have that time commitment, you want it to look a certain way, and animals or raccoons and things like that aren't an issue where they can get into your compost pile, then I guess, for me, tumbling composter is good because it's safe, it's secure, it looks aesthetically pleasing. and it does the job, So if you have one on your property, then use it
Oh yeah.
and see how that goes, and then maybe add from there, I would suggest. Yeah.
Okay. Good advice.
And
Thank you all.
and the in-bed ones like Vigo makes or Subpod, those are good options too if you
I
don't
have
have
one
a
right here.
whole lot. There you go.
Yeah.
The Vigo
Ready to put out.
I use mine for a
So, and I grew up in India, not really celebrating Thanksgiving, but now, to be honest, out of all the other celebrations and occasions, Thanksgiving is my most favorite. It tops even anything else, I would say, just because it has that warm feeling where the family gathers together and everybody's cooking something. And so, being vegetarian, one of the main items that I usually make every year, and my kids requested actually, is a vegetable pot pie. And every dish that I make, I try to use something or the other from the garden. And I like making this vegetable pot pie, especially on Thanksgiving, because then I have butternut squash that I recently harvested. And some of the items that store really well. I have the butternut squash, I have potatoes, I have sweet potatoes, onions. And those are things that I harvested from the garden that are still in my pantry, storing really well. And I can incorporate those things into my, main course. And so even though it may not be 100%, garden-based dish, it still has these little, nuances from the garden. And so it just makes me feel very happy.
no
So
that's awesome.
yeah. So the vegetable pot pie is going to be my main course tomorrow. And so I've already prepped that today. And for the salad, I love to have like a fennel and mandarin orange salad,
Oh wow.
which is just delicious.
Great.
It's got a little bit of champagne vinegar. And also, I'll head out to my garden, which it's November right now. But luckily, I cover it with hoops and some farm grade plastics. I'm able to extend my growing season. So I still have lettuce growing in the garden. So I'm going to go out tomorrow, harvest some of the lettuce from the garden and use that along with the fennel, mandarin oranges, and, make a nice dressing with OJ, and some vinegar and things like that, and sprinkle that.
Sounds so refreshing. It
Oh my
sounds
God,
amazing.
so good. And then my daughter is going to be making a rosemary and garlic focaccia using the garlic and rosemary from the garden. So we have a little, garden stuff everywhere. So I don't
I
want to
see
hijack
pictures about this tomorrow. I want to see all the
Done.
pictures too.
Yes.
I want to
Done.
see. I
Definitely.
keep seeing everybody, like it seems like every homesteader has gotten into making bread lately, and a lot of the focaccias, and like it seems like they need like a sourdough starter or whatever. I would love to get into it. I need to be eating less bread though, but like that's like my favorite is like pizza, pasta, bread. But that sounds amazing. Everything sounds good. Like
Thank
there are
you.
worse things. Yeah, I could be addicted to crack, but I like pizza a lot better. So yeah, I want to see those pictures tomorrow very much, very much.
100%. I will be sharing that.
Yes, I've seen like a fennel mandarin salad. I follow a lot of. I don't know if y'all know who Matty Matheson is on like YouTube. He had a show on Vice for a long time, but he did like a salad like that, and I was like, that looks really good. I'm looking. I want to see that. I want to see that salad.
Thank you.
Phil, I know you got some Italian roots. Let me know what your
pasta. I was like,
let me know what your family's doing for
Bada
Thanksgiving. The family, bada boom.
Honestly, we're going over to my mom's, and my mom's side's very German. So I grew up with like pork and sauerkraut, and sometimes we do like pot roasts instead of turkey. So, but generally Brussels sprouts are on the list, but we've talked about Brussels sprouts so many episodes now.
You're good. Talk about them. I love Brussels sprouts.
But I'm always like Brussels sprouts with some meat in there, and you toss it all together, get it nice and like crispy on the outside, and then you douse it with some nice oils, and you're like, that's pretty straightforward and easy for us. That's always something I look forward to outside of like pumpkin pie. And if you make pumpkin pie from scratch with your sugar pumpkins. But yeah.
Oh yeah. I didn't know. So when I was in the Air Force, I was deployed, and I'd had pumpkin pie before, but I never had sweet potato pie. And they were in the same like little glass refrigerator, and I didn't know which one was which, so I just got one. And pumpkin pie and sweet potato pie taste almost exactly the same, but I like sweet potato better. Like I'm a big sweet potato guy. I don't know if y'all saw my video of my giant one. It's finally cured. But I'm gonna I think I'm gonna try to make a sweet potato pie out of that. It was, I think I weighed it when I first picked it, and I think it was like 7 pounds.
Oh boy.
Oh, wow.
That's a big sweet potato. It was,
Like
It was like a newborn child.
it was huge, man. It was big. But I actually, my wife was cleaning out the pantry the other day, and I put it in there in September, and she pulled out this paper bag, and she's like, "What is this?" I was like, "Oh, it's my sweet potato." I'd totally forgotten about it. It's good to go. Because apparently I didn't know that if you just pull a sweet potato out of the ground, it's not going to taste very good. You got to let them cure before they taste good. So, well, I won't bogart the Thanksgiving meals. Janey, tell me about your Thanksgiving.
So, yeah, I live in California. My family lives in California, but my family's roots are actually from Texas. And so most of our family meals are Texas based, right? And one of the best things that my family is obsessed with, and I'd be interested if you're familiar with this, is corn casserole.
I know what corn casserole is.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like my family's obsessed with corn casserole, and I'm embarrassed to say, Rish, plug your ears. It's canned corn, and then creamed canned corn, and then a little bit of fresh onions, a little bit of fresh bell pepper, and then saltines sprinkled on top, and a bunch of cheese and butter and all that. And we are obsessed. We absolutely love it.
I'm a little white trash, so I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what
It's
you're
the
talking
most
about.
Texas thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Canned stuff coagulates it, that's what you need.
Go ahead, Rich.
I don't know
and then we
about,
have cowboy caviar, and like all the Texas stuff, like hardcore. So that's the big thing that we absolutely love here in our family. And I've gotten everybody that comes in that marries into the family learns to love corn casserole just as much as my family does.
It sounds like the ultimate comfort food, no?
It
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That's the one thing that's always gone immediately. It's the first thing that's always gone, and we'll make like 4 pans of it, and it'll be gone. No one wants the turkey.
That goes back to like I always come up with ideas and I have no follow through. I wanted to put corn and macaroni together. I feel like corn, the sweetness of corn, and like macaroni baked with like a good like panko cracker crust like in the oven would taste really good together. So like that's kind of sounds similar, and it's kind of my taste buds.
Yeah.
It does sound good.
I'm excited about it.
Absolutely.
It's very good.
And the cowboy caviar is good stuff. I can't do too much spicy, but we make pepper jelly, which is very similar. It's just without cowboy caviar is going to be the candied jalapenos. And pepper jelly, what we do is we take the pepper jelly, we take a block of cream cheese, you pour the jelly on top, and then it's Ritz crackers and the cream cheese on top, and then you eat it however you want. And it's like I said,
That's Thanksgiving for us. That was totally Thanksgiving for us. So
awesome.
That's awesome. Well, Vikram, what is your favorite dish?
So I also come from an Indian family. I'm a lifelong Texan, but my parents are from India, and so we've done chicken curry for Thanksgiving before, which actually today sounds really good. It's a nice day here, and like I don't know, but we actually I don't love turkey. Like we have decided as a family that we don't love turkey, so we'll do a hen sometimes, or even like a brisket. Like my stepdad loves to smoke a brisket, and he'll go out there and I like to sleep, and so like the staying up all night thing, this doesn't work for me anymore. But so we'll do that. But I'm also a big fan of sweet potatoes. So we do a lot of sweet potato dishes. Not the like, well, we have, but like the marshmallow ones, that is not so much. But we'll do either baked sweet potatoes or casseroles. We've even done like roasted sweet potato
Mhm.
fries and things. So I actually own a little peach orchard. And in the
Oh.
past, we would do a lot of like peach preserves and peach pies and things like that. We didn't make a crop this year because of the weather and a few other things, but so we did a lot of peach stuff. I, at some point, managed to get myself like shoehorned into the dessert guy corner. So I'm always in charge of desserts. So this year I made a salted caramel apple pie
Oh.
and
my
a rye whiskey praline pecan pie.
Oh my God,
And
can I
Oh
come
my
to your
God.
house?
I
Good
think if
on
you
you,
eat
man.
like, I think if you
Sounds
eat
so
two
good.
pieces, it literally kills you. But yeah, I'm the dessert guy. I don't know how how I got there, but I've started experimenting more.
Yeah, our go-to dessert for, and like I said, I grew up a little bit white trash. It's called Better Than Sex Cake, and it's a graham cracker crust. It's like vanilla pudding, chocolate pudding, chocolate pudding, whipped cream, pecans, and it's just like it's
Delicious.
good. It's really good. But and I've heard it called a bunch of different things, but that's like our go-to. But here in Texas, you got to have the pecan pie.
Yeah.
My wife did. She did a pumpkin cheesecake a couple years ago, and that was really good. But yeah, you throw pumpkins and pecans in there, and in Texas, it's a win. You know, especially if you add like a bourbon glaze or a whiskey hint to it. You know, like you can't go wrong at all.
Yeah, and we have we harvested all the pecans off one of our trees, and my wife was like, "I'll shell them." She likes repetitive tasks like that.
Me
So I
too.
was like, "Good," because my brain will dissolve and dribble. Like I can't. I don't have the attention span for it.
Oh yeah. Well, that's why you see all my propagation videos. I propagated about 75 hibiscus trees earlier. It's just
Wow.
strip, dip, and poke in the ground. Yeah, I love those monotonous, tasks that would, like, if it was a career, you get paid like $8 an hour to do stuff like that. Like it's a good time though. But I really like what Rach was saying about, just, I mean, if you can just supplement one thing you grow, like if you just grew butternut squash and that's one thing you don't have to buy from the store, that's such an important thing that people, especially nowadays, can incorporate into their Thanksgiving and every meal. Especially the butternut squash, because they're so easy to grow. A lot of them are SVB resistant as well, right? Is it the butternuts that are squash vine borer resistant for the most part, or is the acorn? I know
don't
there's
know,
a couple
actually.
strains that they don't get hit as hard by the vine borers. And I thought it was butternut squash. I don't know if you had that issue with your butternut squash or
I Well, luckily, I've not had an issue with the squash vine borers for the butternut squash. But what I generally do is, I love to grow garlic, and because I'm in the Northeast, I'm in like a zone 6B where it's like colder, it snows, etc. So usually I plant my garlic in fall, harvest it in July, and then when I pull out the garlic, I put in the butternut squash seedlings. And so like early July, like late June, early July, when I plant the butternut squash, then I'm able to time it beautifully. So I get the harvest right before the frost comes in like, late October. So, yeah, and it stores well. So, but yeah, I haven't had an issue with the pest, but I do have like a mega problem with cucumber beetles, which is, it's the worst. It's like, it's gone. Phil, you know about that?
Yeah, I know exactly about that.
Yes.
And it's like, and you
They
uncover
don't
it,
just
you're
eat
like,
cucumbers.
amazing. Yeah, and then you turn it around. It's like I almost gave up on cucumbers because I was having such an issue. The bugs get really bad here in the Southeast, and it can just like I have such a great spring. And I grew up in the Northeast, outside Philadelphia, in the Amish country, and I was used to growing all summer. But summer hits here; it's scorching hot. The bugs come out, and it's just I'm learning from all the Texans here how to navigate that world. But I wait till fall and everything kicks back into gear again, so I get like a dual growing season.
Well, the only thing I've found that works on well, there's a couple things I've found that work in the cucumber beetles, but there's only pyrethrin has been the only thing I've found that works on the cucumber beetles that will penetrate that hard exoskeleton. The neem oil doesn't work. The BT doesn't work. The insecticidal soap doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's pyganic. You can get organic pyrethrin. That's been the only thing. But I had such a hard time with them a couple of years ago. But since I rotate my sprays. I do neem oil weekly when I have a full garden. Right now, it's all gone. But I do neem oil weekly, and then I rotate. I'll do like BT 1 week, and then I'll do like pyrethrin, and then I'll do like spinosad. But then I keep rotating through every 3 weeks. I'm doing something different. And if I have something like an issue with a certain thing, I'll throw some insecticidal soap in there as well. But I haven't found that the squash vine borers or the squash bugs have built up an immunity to the neem oil. They'll build up an immunity to like the spinosad and the pyrethrin if you keep it hitting them every single week. So it's been that rotation that I've been doing. That's been pretty helpful. I went like full organic just out of like sheer lack of energy and time this fall, and so I had the worst squash bug infestation. I had cucumber beetles, and I was like, well, let them have their fun this fall. In the spring, I'll hit them hard again, and then we'll go back to growing. I was done. I went so hard this year on videos and everything that I don't think people realize when they watch our videos how long it takes us. Because a normal task like planting seeds, you walk out there, you plant a squash seed, 5 seconds. But if you're videoing it, it takes 5 to 10 to 20 times as long to go and do a process, and especially if you work a full-time job and you're doing that, it's so wild.
My
how
gosh,
much time
I couldn't agree with you more. I just couldn't. In fact, I have so many gardening tasks that I know I have to do and I know that I can do, but I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it yet until it's the perfect moment to film it, So
Yes.
it's crazy,
Yeah. No, it gets exhausting sometimes. And Janey, you make 5 videos a week on YouTube.
Wow.
I do.
That's amazing.
Are those like fully edited videos, or are they? Wow.
Yeah. On average, my videos are about 20 minutes long.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean they're not like they're a lot of them are vlog type videos, like what I'm doing in my garden today, and things like that. So it's not all how to, and that kind of stuff. I try and incorporate some of that stuff just from what I've learned. But it's easier than it sounds. It's not 5 how-to videos per week. I couldn't do that. There's no way.
Do you have a team of people, or do you do the editing also yourself, or do you
No,
have?
I do it all myself. Yeah, I do it all myself. Yeah.
Good on you.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
thanks.
Somebody asked me if I had someone who edited my videos. I was like, dude, are you out of your mind? There's no way. I was like, no, I
You gotta
don't
take it as a
think
compliment, man.
dude, I don't think I can handle it. I'm too OCD. Like
Everyone thinks
like
my husband edits my videos. He's like,
Well,
they're like, your
Ooh.
husband does such a good job editing your videos, and I'm like, what?
well,
No.
my wife films most of my videos. She's
Oh,
usually
that's
my
nice.
cameraman. She's
That's
gotten
nice.
really good at that. But no, she does not. She don't do any editing. I guess YouTube has got to be like one of the harder markets to get into, because it's already so saturated. But like you said, like you're doing those vlogs like 5 days a week, you can really build an audience, and people are getting to know you and they know what they expect. And that's kind of like the ideal way to get it going on YouTube, is to build that audience, and people want to see this, like kind of the same thing, like the same intro every day, like, oh, going out, check chickens, we're doing this, they kind of get in a pattern. They want to see the certain things.
Yeah, and I think of it as I'm telling a story. I'm telling my story, right? My gardening journey. I started off being a very novice gardener and not very confident, and then, like went through the Master Gardener program and filming that. My reaction to
You're
that.
one of those.
I'm one of those, yeah. but because I had no other way to learn, how to do things, you know what I mean? And so just taking people through my day-to-day, life and my gardening life, that's kind of how I approach it. And people seem to really like it because they can relate to not knowing everything, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well, that's usually my response to people. They tell me, "When are you going to buy some land? When are you going to get a big old farm? When are you going to do all this?" I was like, "Well, I think the reason people relate to me is because everybody has a small backyard.
yeah.
More people than not have a small backyard, and they have to make the best of the space they have. So rather than me going out and buying 10 acres, I can use what I have and use it efficiently and show people how they can make it work in small spaces. Like the south side of my house, which would be ideal to put certain plants. There's a 2-story house in front of it. Like I get,
Aw.
nothing can grow there. So like it's nice to have, like you were saying, people follow along as you grow, and then people seeing your circumstances and being able to relate with you as well.
Relating. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that that's what people are looking for. They're not looking to watch a, completely scripted show that everything is perfect and beautiful. They want to see your 2-story neighbor and I have that too, or they want to see me kill everything that I plant, you know what I mean? So it's a learning experience, guys.
That's
Oh
a
my!
good
Well,
reminder for when all the fig cuttings that I destroy that I got to film that because I have like a nice graveyard out back.
Phil,
I have hundreds of figs, but I also have hundreds of dead fig cuttings out back too.
oh yeah.
Watch it.
There you go.
Oh
And show that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right,
yes.
right.
Phil, you should, when you're in California, stop by. My new property, there's a massive, I mean, I'm talking like 20-foot tall, 20-foot wide fig tree on it. And
Oh man.
Oh,
oh
questions,
my goodness.
questions now.
When,
What kind of figs are
hey,
they? Can we dive
when
into this? Is this fig time?
whenever my buddy, if my buddy,
Wait.
if my buddy the fig hunter sees this,
Oh,
he's
it's
going to be
over.
sending you. He lives in Sacramento,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and he
Yeah,
travels.
that's like 15 minutes away from me.
Oh, you're screwed. He's coming to your house.
Teach me about my fig tree.
He's already, yeah.
Yes, he
Already on his way.
So he has discovered over 2,000 different varieties of figs,
Oh,
and
all right.
going wild in California on the side of like overpasses. Like it's crazy. Like
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
and they grow wild there because I mean, I guess they're not wild. They're I guess they would technically be an invasive, over in California. I don't know if they're class.
The fig wasp was introduced,
man.
right? So then
I'm calling the kettle black. I use the word invasive for figs. I get so many people calling invasive on my videos. I gotta stop using that term for like everything. They're not native, non-native figs growing. That's what I need to use.
So I don't know, Phil. I don't know what variety I have. That with sounding very naive, it looks like the variety that you get in the grocery store. They look exactly like that, and they taste better than that.
Probably if they're
but
caprified.
Yeah, I mean they're incredible. They're so good. My freezer's filled with them right now. Just because I had so many, I couldn't.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, it was like I just can't keep up with it. You know what I mean? So yeah, you're welcome to come.
Absolutely.
Take cuttings.
I'll take a ton of cuttings. We'll figure it out.
The fig hunter does like a fig festival in the I think it's in the spring or summer, and me and Phil are definitely going to try to make out for that and be judges. So we might actually be able to do that.
Come by. Yeah, actually, I want to go to the fig festival.
Oh yeah, it's like Figapalooza or something. I don't know what it is.
I'll have to look it up.
If it's not Figapalooza, it's going to be Figapalooza.
It should be.
It should be.
It should be.
If you can add Aluza to anything, it's better. It's better.
It's a missed opportunity if it's not that.
Oh my goodness. Hey, I was going to ask, since I've got 2 authors in the chat, so how does someone go to like, I want to write a book, to getting a book made? Like, do you write the book? I know yours is a children's book and yours is a beginner gardening book. But maybe y'all can explain, like, how does someone like get a book published? Like, how does that work?
I can go first. My experience was a little bit different. So I worked with a publisher out of the UK called Neon Squid. They're an imprint of Macmillan Books, which is one of the largest publishing houses, and they're fairly new, like 2 years old, and they do nonfiction for kids.
Okay.
And so my editor had actually sort of pitched the idea. He had this idea of like, so the book's called Plants to the Rescue, and it's about like how plant science and new innovations in plant science and natural sciences and all these things are helping with things like climate change and food supply and pollution and all that. And so he'd sort of already sold the basic idea of the book in like 2 of the sections, and then they were like, we need to. So they are right now in their stage of sort of development are contracting with authors and illustrators. And so I wrote it sort of as a freelancer. They found me actually on TikTok.
Okay.
And through my podcast or one of my podcasts, and contacted me and were like, hey, we've got this idea for a book. Would you be interested in sending in a writing sample and maybe authoring it for us? And so I was like, yeah, I'll take a swing at it. And
So they pitched it to you.
they did. They pitched the book to me, actually. They found me, and I got kind of a cold call email.
That's
saying,
pretty
hey,
wild.
Are you interested in this? I was like, yeah, okay. And so we had, I think, 30 spreads in the book, so 30 different topics, and they'd already sort of landed on 3. So I got to come up with the other ones. The illustrator we had was fantastic, and like he took the idea. Like, I'm not that kind of creative. Right. And so like I had these ideas in my head for what I thought the spread should look like. And I sent him these other publishers. So
That's so interesting, because I didn't know they would come to someone like with a concept already and try to, and that's because I have an idea to like do my like anthology. Like I want to do 2024, start in January and go through like December of next year, and do like an anthology, like journal entries and like pictures to go along with it, and do something like that.
it's cool.
So I would like to hear like Resh, I want to say it right. Tell me how your process was.
So mine was actually quite the opposite, where I had to pitch to the publishers. So interestingly, what had happened was in 2021, I had written a little piece in one of my friend's books, and she's a gardener, and she was publishing her book, and she asked a bunch of us, a few gardeners, to write a little, a chapter or so for her book. So I had written that, and I think always at the back of my head, it was something that I always wanted, that I wanted to one day write a book to share my knowledge. And I think that's kind of, what all of us want, is to share our knowledge with as many people as possible, right? So, so when I wrote that little piece, I think the publishers noticed that and asked my friend if I'd be interested in writing a book, or, if they could introduce her to me. So she made the introductions, which was so fantastic of her. And when I spoke to the publishers, they basically said, Rish, I want you to come up with 3 ideas for a book. And depending, on what we like, and if we like it, we're going to propose it to the board. And, along with a budget potentially for that book. And if they approve, then we will approve of, going forward with your book. So last year in April, I think March or April, is when I, pitched to them 3 ideas for a book. And one of them they really liked. And of course, and so then they pitched to
What
their
were the
board.
other 2? You gotta tell us the other 2.
Well, it was on a similar lines, but I think initially the book, which is now called Vegetable Gardening Made Easy, initially we were thinking of calling it something like, Insta Garden, which is how to,
like
instantly solve problems in your garden.
Stealing that
How-
right now. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I have witnesses.
It's all recorded. There's evidence.
Yeah, there's no way to hide this unless I edit it out.
It was so fun, but that was sort of the idea, and then it went on to become this book, which was an extension of my Instagram and social media, which is about offering quick solutions and tips for gardening, for everyday gardening questions, basically.
Yeah.
Because over the years, I've had so many hundreds of questions from my followers, and a lot of them ask the same questions about, why aren't my tomatoes turning red, or why aren't my peppers spicy, or why are my carrots deformed, or, why am I, with seed starting, basically the
Yeah.
general questions, that every grower might have at different stages in the gardening cycle. So I try to address that in a short, succinct way as possible, and created this book, which is Vegetable Gardening Made Easy. So I know it comes out December 19th, but now, working with the PR and the publishers are Quattro Publishing Group, and they have released, books of many great gardeners as well, such as, Kevin Espiritu and others. So,
Who?
Kevin Espiritu.
I'm scared.
Should we call him Eric?
Yeah, we should call him Eric.
Eric Gardner. Yeah. But I was laughing so hard. So I do that. There's something psychologically wrong with me, because that makes so much sense, and it got me thinking. And I was going to bring this up in the podcast. I thought about this 2 or 3 days ago. Sometimes when I'm writing stuff down, and this is going to sound so dumb, when I write an R, sometimes I write a 5. And I don't know if that is that might be some kind of new, mental illness or something, like writing a number instead of a letter. But then I got to thinking about it. I was like, 5 is like the R of numbers when you think about it. When you really think about it, and so it also makes sense. Like with Epic,
I think you have a book idea right there.
Dude,
Yeah, 5 is the R of
5 is the R of
Five-
numbers.
5
At
is
least a
the R of
song.
numbers. And so whenever I saw that with Kevin, I was like, dude, I totally thought it was Eric Gardening at first. I don't know what, our eyes are connected to our brains, but not that strongly sometimes.
You'd be surprised what you could do over repetition of enough times to create a neural pathway to continually do it. But that would be my nerdy science way of thinking about it.
Yeah, well, I watch a lot of House as well, so there's something going on with me. I don't know. 5s are not R's, but they're as close as numbers go.
I like the lyrics that are coming in for this song you're going to write.
Yeah,
now.
I think you've got something here.
It's
I
definitely
think
it's an early 2000s emo song. 5s are not the R's, but I don't. I've got your book in my cart. I'm gonna pre-order it as well. I'm a big book buyer. I'm not always the biggest book reader, but I'm one of those people that where if I've got a book on my shelf, people think I'm smart. So it's always so. If you want to look smart and look like you know how to garden, make sure to buy Resh's book. And then if you have kids and you're like a hipster organic person, you definitely want to get Vikram's kids book as well. You definitely want to get that as well. I'll make sure to put links for both of y'all's books at the bottom as well.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Appreciate it so much.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the book process. Thank you.
That's so exciting.
Congrats.
That's so
Thank you.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Really
That
great.
is so cool.
To be honest, in 2020, March of 2020, I had about 350 followers on Instagram.
Wow.
And the whole journey of going from that to being here, to being able to write a book, having an audience, and doing what I love, essentially turning your hobby and your passion into into work that actually energizes you every morning. I think we're lucky to be able to do that. Truly.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
in our small way, by growing whatever we can, I think we're making an impact on this planet. And even if it's the smallest way, but that makes a difference. I think every drop makes an ocean. So I'm just
No,
so happy to be over
absolutely.
here today with all of
That's
you.
awesome.
Thanks. Same here.
I love the way you talk, Rach. I love the way, like, I love the things that come out of your mouth. Like, everything is so sweet. Like,
Thank you.
I wish I was. I'm gonna try to be nicer. This week, just from some of the things that you've said this week. Like, every drop makes an ocean. Like, that is a beautiful saying.
Thank
That is a
you.
beautiful.
Just a caveat, I have 2 kids, so I have to speak this way too.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I don't have any kids. I just got a dog and my wife. And so if I cuss outside with my garden, the plants don't care usually. But if there were children around, I'd have to be a little more careful. No, that's so exciting. Like you were saying, it's so cool. I was gonna say it's like the American dream, but it's really like the worldwide dream. With being able to influence. I hate the word influencer. That
Me
word, that word makes me go ick, like on the inside.
Me
When someone
too.
calls
gross.
me an influencer, it makes me want to like throw up. So I'm a content creator, is what I say. I'm a gardening
That's what
content.
I say.
I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. So it's so cool that anybody can do it. Like, literally, if you put the time and energy in, focus. Like, how many times have y'all gone back and saw like one of your first videos, and it just makes you cringe?
I try not to.
Oh,
I
I'm in
try
the
my
middle of
best
that.
never to see
Oh.
those.
Dude,
I'm in
do
the
it
middle
all-
of that right now. You guys are way ahead of me, and like some of these videos, I'm like, these people like I have like these dedicated. I only have like 500 right now on YouTube. Instagram is my bread and butter, but like I have dedicated followers, and I was like, wow, I guess they do. Like it's
cool.
There's 5 dedicated people that like keep you going and
It all
pump you up.
starts
Comment on
somewhere,
everything.
Dude.
Yeah.
It all
Oh,
starts
man.
somewhere. That's somebody's
Well,
grandma, dude.
So with tomorrow being Thanksgiving, I actually started YouTube 2 years ago on Thanksgiving. So it's
Oh,
my
wow.
2-year
Wow.
anniversary. So
Happy
it's
Super cool.
anniversary.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I actually filmed a video today and I posted my very first video in that video.
Oh, that's
wow.
awesome.
I gotta
Yeah.
watch that.
Yeah. But Phil, I will say, like, the very first person who commented on my videos was this sweet girl named Melissa, and she still comments today. And it's like we're basically friends now, right? Because it's
So cool.
they get involved in your life, and then you get involved in their life, and it's so funny. So these first 500 that are watching your YouTube videos, they're the important ones. You know what I mean?
That's your core. That's your
Yeah.
core.
It's my
Dude.
core audience, and I am getting relationships with them, and that's been really cool. And like even doing all of this in the past year has brought me like Resh, you could say it so eloquently. All these drops are kind of accumulating into
Yes.
a body of water now, and
You're
and
accumulating
now
them drops, bro.
I'm accumulating the drops with my figs. But yes, circling it back, it's been a very appreciative. It's like when you were saying content creator, I was like almost like inspirer because it's all out there, and so it's like just showing like
even that sounds gross to me. I don't want to be
All
an
right.
inspirer.
I think that's okay. I think that's that.
We're
working through
I
it.
like inspire. Yeah, because I think that I don't know about you all, but what I'm doing is just trying to inspire people not to be afraid to go out into the garden. We all fail, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm just
Is the juice worth the squeeze? And so I met a buddy and he told me about TikTok. And I was like, well, he said, make the same videos you're making on your YouTube, but do them like in a 60-second clip. And I was like, okay. And so I hit like, a couple 100,000 on 185,000 on TikTok. And I was like, well, let's move it over, because if you have, so like I've got 185,000 on TikTok, over 100 something thousand, it doesn't translate to other platforms as well. Like I've noticed that, like, you have to focus like your energy, like like whenever I post a video on Instagram, it goes on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. I was doing Pinterest for a while too. Like that is an untapped market as well.
Yeah.
Pinterest is very untapped.
Huh.
Hey, Vikram, get on Pinterest, dude. They'll love your stuff. But it's funny how I've kind of made a full circle back to YouTube, wanting to make more long form videos, just because I feel like I can get more information out. I can get it's the videos seem to be easier to edit when you're not constrained to a 60-second clip,
Yeah,
for sure.
for
Totally.
sure.
And trying to force all that info into a 60-second clip is super difficult, and then you get all the questions afterwards, which is kind of nice because that's engagement when you're getting the comments down below, you know, asking a million things. But I feel more accomplished when I like do a video to completion on YouTube, making like a start to finish video there. So
You
It
know what's
takes me
funny?
the same amount of time to do a reel, to edit a reel and get it all filmed as it does a regular YouTube video.
yeah,
Just
Oh,
because
really?
There's a lot more
Wow.
cuts and
because
things,
I
right?
can't get it, and I'll have to say the same thing 8 times to make it super fast.
yeah,
So honestly, YouTube, you can just sit and you can just talk and, 2 cuts and you're done. So
yep.
You know what's when I started doing this, so I'm an educator and a science communicator, and that's been most of my career.
You're a
Like,
doctor.
yeah, doctor, educator, plant guy, whatever. I kill a lot of plants. I'm not a good, like I think I said this last time. I'm a bad plant doctor, but it's okay. But I teach college students, and I've done science communication for most of my career. And so when I started getting more into, posting on social media and stuff, I was like, I'm just gonna do silly, goofy little things. And so I yell about bananas and stuff. But I found that I like can't help it. Like I still started gravitating back towards like I need to do education. Like this is what I do. This is like who I am. But it's funny hearing you talk about editing, because like I the other day was like, I'm gonna try to make a baking video because why not? And so I made this video of me baking cookies, and it took an offensive amount of time to like film and edit
It always
because
does.
I don't know what I'm doing. Like I was just like,
yeah.
and it got like 2,500 views or something, and I was like, okay, fine. And then I posted this dumb throwaway video that's 18 seconds long about I stitched this like tiramisu drawer is a restaurant, and they have a drawer full of tiramisu, and I was like, I want this in my house, and it has 12 million views on Instagram now.
Wow.
It has
That's ridiculous.
these people that are following me are going to be real disappointed with like the rest of my content.
Yeah.
So one thing you're
Absurd.
gonna notice is views do not translate to followers. Views do not always translate to
Right.
followers. You're gonna do some videos for you, and then you're gonna do some videos for views. That baking video, you made it, you spent a lot of time, you took pride in it, you edited it the way you want it. That video was for you, and it looked good, and you were happy with the end product. And that's something that you should be proud of. The 12 million views Stitch, that's awesome. If you're monetized, awesome. But I mean, how many followers have you gained from the 12? I mean, probably a couple.
About 3,000 actually. Like it's been
bad.
decent. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad, but it doesn't always translate to getting a bunch of followers
No.
But no, it definitely. But I found that I'm more focused on doing videos that I like and videos that I want to do, and I'm happy with the end product, and then people enjoy it as well. The people that are like Janey was saying, if you have that core audience, they want to see that product that you make because they are along for the ride with you. So it's all about doing what you want to do, and then finding the people that appreciate what you're doing.
Being genuine, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then finding that thing that makes you get pumped up where you're gardening for 3 hours and get lost in it, and then realize like that's what people want to see, and that's really kind of what's
people want
benefited
to
me.
see.
Yeah.
My husband and I, we used to watch this show called Chasing Classic Cars. Has any of you seen that?
I
It's this
have, yeah.
It's this random show where this guy loves old cars, right? And we are not car people. We're not fans. And we realized we were watching it because he loved the cars so much. And he got so excited about this random car, and you could just see the joy in this guy's face. And so both my husband and I like realized that that's why we were watching that video. So every once in a while, I'll do a video and I'll get really excited about it. And my husband will say, like, you're like the chasing classic car guy. Like,
Yep.
and it's
That's
like, I
cool.
know exactly what he means because I know I'm super excited about whatever I'm talking about. And I feel like those videos hit the deepest with everybody because you truly are really passionate about what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Passion is infectious.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
as communicators, as educators and stuff, maybe that's really our job is like, because
Yeah.
you can look stuff up. Like I tell my students all the time, like you can look up whatever you want, like all
Yeah.
the time, but like your phone won't necessarily give you like a passion for the topic. Like you need
Right.
to
Don't trust Wikipedia.
know how to care about it. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's a good
And
starting
like coming
point
from you,
sometimes,
Vikram,
but-
like I remember in graduate school, and we would do geology school is fun because you get to go on field trips a lot. But like having your professor in the weeds with you, in the dirt, digging with you, and like some of those professors make or break a class for you. And
Yeah.
having those ones that are like authentically pumped up about the stratigraphy of an outcropping in West Virginia, you're like, I'm in too. Let's do it. I study oceans, but cool, let's do it.
You just said a bunch of words, dude. You said a lot of words just now.
Yeah, so my background is in geology and coastal engineering. But
Really?
He is the South Carolina surfing Randy
Nope.
Marsh.
no.
Yeah,
yes,
you
anyway,
guys are also totally
figs.
right. And figs.
No, absolutely. Yeah, there's probably a bunch of fig recipes that you could be doing right now, Phil, with a bunch of like, I've seen like some fig quiches and fig tarts and stuff
Oh
that
my
people do for
God.
Thanksgiving.
Well, I
So
had a chef
my-
come
my
over and we.
kids-
Oh,
So
Good,
sorry,
Ash.
Phil, just, talking about figs, my kids are
Yeah.
going to be making these crostinis with some fig
Oh.
jam, which I
Let
wish
me
I
out,
was
Jay.
growing figs, over here, but crostinis with fig jam
You
and
can.
goat
He'll
cheese.
send you some.
Yeah.
I'll get you. I'll hook you up.
Thank you.
My parents up in Pennsylvania have like way more trees than they thought they'd ever have now. But
Wow.
Yeah, some figs will be fine in New Jersey. I mean, what zone
Yeah.
are you in? Did your zone change?
Oh, did you get bumped up?
Yeah, so technically up until last month, I believe, I was zone 6B, and now the USDA says that I'm zone 7, which is, wonderful, but, I do wish we get a good amount of snow, at least, this December,
Yeah.
nevertheless. But a lot of people a lot of people do grow figs over here. But you have to bring them indoors if you can, over the
Yeah.
winter. Otherwise,
Yep.
they won't survive. Yeah. Citrus
Yep, exactly.
yeah, I wish I could. I wish I had the space. Maybe one day. Yeah, never say never.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
that's the hook. I mean, figs, I think what gets figs in colder climates is they can go dormant, right? But what happens is in that springtime when you start getting warm, their sap flows. And that's when they have a sharp freeze after their sap starts flowing, that's what really knocks them out and they can't come back from.
Like a late freeze, like that comes
Like a
on
late
after it's
freeze,
kinda
like,
warm.
oh, it's spring. And you're like, no, not yet. And they're like, no, I got this. I'm like, no, you don't. And then they bite the dust hard. Yeah. And a lot of varieties can come back from the ground. There's some hardy ones called Mount Etnas from Mount Etna in Sicily where they originated. But
Yeah, there's
Phil,
just
quite
quite a
I'm going to connect with you because I love figs, and definitely I would love some guidance from you on that.
yeah, absolutely. And I actually connect with sorry.
No, go ahead.
I connected with a chef here and we went and we just tasted figs as we were walking around. And what he brought up, like actually drying out the fig leaf and using that, because you can make teas and things with it, and incorporating that into your focaccia bread and then interlaying the fig on top. And then you could actually like sear the top of the fig. And you go through like all the stages of the plant, covering all the flavor profiles. So you're like,
Wow.
you're bitter,
That's
you're
Wow, that
savory,
is-
you're sweet.
That's awesome.
And have
Wow,
kind of like
I'm
a
blown away.
secret
That is
ingredient.
incredible.
Yeah.
Phil,
So
do a
good.
cooking video with him on your YouTube
I'm
channel.
about to. Yeah.
I want to see that. I want to see
got
how
it.
to cook. I got a ton of fig leaves here. I got to do something with them.
Well, and Phil, you are far too handsome not to be on more YouTube videos.
You know, I have one follower. She's my wife. She says that every day. So
Aw.
Very
Must be-
sweet.
must be my wife's mean as hell. So you're lucky, dude.
listen, my wife's got some muscle because I'm such a nice guy. I was like, listen, I need someone that'll like back me up in a fight, and she's beautiful, and she will not take anyone's shit for me. So a win-win.
Oh,
I
good
mean,
job.
everyone's stuff for me. Sorry.
Good job, Phil. I gotta bleep one word in the whole podcast. Good job, man. 1 minute, 17 seconds. Oh my god. Oh my god. Well, guys, I don't want to hold you up any longer. Before we leave, we'll go counterclockwise again. Resh, tell us one thing you're thankful for and where everybody can follow you. And here you go. Go ahead.
The thing that I'm most thankful for is my family. This is the first time after many, many years that my parents are visiting me from India. So
Oh,
so
I'm
cool.
super grateful
awesome.
that they're here and just to have everyone together. So I'm super thankful for my family, of course, and for my garden. And you can follow me on Instagram at Resh Gala. And you can also find me on YouTube at Resh Gala as well. And apart from that, I have my website, which is www.reshgala.com. So, and I have a book. I hope, everyone who's listening pre-orders it or orders it as well. It's called Vegetable Gardening Made Easy.
I'll
Thank
put
you.
links for everything down in the description.
And just
As
wanted
well.
to say a big thank you to all of you out here as well. So it was lovely meeting you all.
Absolutely, we'll have to get you back on again. I love getting new people on with different backgrounds and different geographic locations. I hope if they came from all the way from India, they're not just staying for Thanksgiving; they're staying for a little bit longer, right?
Yes,
know,
they'll
like
be
when-
here till Jan at least.
Okay, good,
Okay.
good. Well, see, that's
Good.
a long flight just to come in for 2 days. Like,
Yeah,
long
for
trip.
sure. Yeah.
I was going to ask this earlier because I know some of like our American holidays coincide with like other cultures' holidays. Are there any like Indian holidays that like are close around Thanksgiving or anything like that?
So we just recently, on November 12th, which is, close enough, we celebrated Diwali, which is
Oh.
the festival of lights,
I've seen The Office. I know.
Yeah. So it is absolutely one of my most favorite, festivals as well. So
That's awesome. No, that's
Laura,
cool.
like, oh yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've seen The Office, you know all about Diwali.
Yeah.
Well, happy late Diwali as well. Thank you
you.
very much. I appreciate you coming on, Resh.
Thank
Phil?
you.
Phil,
Hey, everyone. Oh, the thing
what are
I'm
you
thankful for most, my family.
Don't
My
say
family as well.
figs.
No, absolutely not. Not they everything's second to family. This is the best time of year. It's a time for reflection. And just being together and reflecting on all the family moments I've had. I used to travel a lot for work, flying up and down for beaches, and it pulled my heartstrings a lot. And so now that I am not in that sphere, I relish every day I get to be with my family. So ultimately thankful for that.
Dude, I can totally relate, dude. I used to travel so much for work. I got into a position where I worked 7 days on and 7 days off, and that's when I started making videos. And now I have 3-day weekend every weekend, which is so nice.
That's
So it's so nice for content, being able to spend more time with family. I found that working more overtime, working more hours, you're going to make more money, but it doesn't equate to quality time. At the end of the day, that company is going to replace you the next day. Absolutely, I agree. More time at home is better off.
I appreciate that. And the core memories that we're getting to have more and more of now in the past year has been tremendous. And actually,
Don't you start crying on me, Phil. Don't you start crying on me, dude.
I can cry if I want to. But
Yeah, let her rip.
But, that's been the biggest standout for what I'm thankful for this year, for sure. And having Thanksgiving is a great time to really showcase that,
And that beautiful new baby.
And my beautiful new daughter, Tallulah. Yeah.
She's not on the podcast this week. I love that name.
She was on it last week. I know, but she got a little fussy. She made it like the whole episode almost, but
she's a sweetheart.
she's as sweet as candy.
Well, thanks
But
again.
yeah,
Thanks again, Phil. You're a weekly staple on the podcast,
I
and
appreciate hearing that. Even though I pushed my boundaries today, coming in so late, I really apologize.
oh, you're good. Hey, I accept your apology. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank
Shut up. Shut up. No,
Phil,
it's
what's
not a
your
problem.
YouTube? What's your
Yeah,
I'm
YouTube?
tell,
on Phil's Figs, so philsfigs.com. I'm on YouTube, it's just Phil's Figs, and Instagram, Phil's Figs.
our fig cuttings available right now on philsfigs.com.
Not yet, in a few weeks in December. If you want to know, I've been sending out newsletters through philsfigs.com, so you can get on that email list.
There you
And
go.
then I keep tips and I'm a coach through that. So get on there and I'll coach you through how to grow your own figs. Cuttings will
this-
Set
drop
up
in
a
about 2
giant fig
weeks.
tree. Will you
I
coach
will
me how to take
prune
care of
the heck out of that tree. So don't you worry.
Thank you.
In the spring, will we get a Fig Daddy shirt?
Oh, yes. Fig Daddy shirts in the works. Some other punny things to figure out over the winter for figs. We're going to be on all the swag. So
Absolutely. Well, thanks again, Phil. Love you, dude.
love
Go
you too.
ahead, Janey.
So of course, I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful they're healthy. We've had health issues this past week, so I'm thankful they're healthy. But beyond that, I am super thankful that I discovered gardening because I honestly don't know where I would be right now if I didn't find that outlet that I needed mentally and physically and emotionally, right? If that makes sense. Like I'm
Oh,
just so
absolutely.
I'm so thankful that I took the time to step outside and get my hands dirty and try and grow something because it completely changed absolutely everything in my life and in my family's life. So I'll always be thankful for that. So
No, for sure.
yeah.
I don't have kids or anything like that, and so people ask me like, "Hey, how do you find all the time to do all this stuff?" So, well, I don't have kids, so I can't imagine what people do, how they do it with their kids and stuff. But I'm just like you, like being outside is my therapy. Being in the
Yeah.
garden is like even when I get home from work, if I've just got an hour of sunlight, I go out there and I'm propagating. I'm starting seeds. I'm watering. Time in the garden is not time wasted at
No,
all.
not at all.
No.
Yeah. Very important. So as for my channel is Dig Plant Water Repeat. Everyone's
I
gonna
love
forget
that
that, I
name.
know.
No,
But
I love that.
so YouTube is my main my baby. It's my go-to. So find me on YouTube, but then I'm also on Instagram. I'm pretty sure I'm on TikTok. I think I repost. I haven't reposted in a while to TikTok. And then I'm actually starting to dive into Facebook a little bit, which is shocking. But I'm actually starting to post on there and get a little bit of a following there too, which has been interesting and fun because I used to be like no Facebook. So yeah.
Hang around after I stop recording, and I'll tell you all about Facebook. I'll
Oh,
tell you.
okay.
Okay, I'll tell you all
Yeah.
about
The
Facebook.
tea. All
I'll
right.
just let you
So
know if you're a content creator and you're not putting content on Facebook, you are missing out.
right, that's what I heard. That's what
That's
I
what
heard. So now I'm like Facebook, So so yeah. So
Zuckerberg.
yeah, right. I do want to say though is that I am a novice veggie gardener. My actually one of my goals for this year is to up my veggie gardening game because my passion is flowers. That's really what I love. But now that I have this bigger property, I went from 0.17 of an acre to about an acre. And so now I
Wow.
actually have room to plant the butternut squash and the corn and all that kind of stuff. So
I see
that's my
seeds already started behind you.
flowers.
Hey, nothing wrong with
lots
that.
and lots of flowers.
You should have even better success because of all the pollinators.
Well, see, that's the thing is that it's so important. Like my uncle's a huge veggie gardener, and once he started planting flowers, he said that his veggie garden went crazy because he
Yep,
had so many pollinators. So, yeah, I think it makes a difference. So,
absolutely, 100%. Mr. Vikram, Dr. Vikram.
I was thankful for honestly today just a day to get to spend baking with my wife and hanging out with my son and being lazy and like wearing sweatpants all day. It was great. And we have a bunch of family in town, so we're going to get to see them tomorrow. So just like Phil was saying, like that time's so precious. And, you know, I blinked and my son's 8 and I don't know how that happened. And so like, or almost 8, he's 7, but almost 8. And so getting to just hang out for a day when there's nothing else going on is kind of really cool.
No,
really
sure.
important. Yeah. And so I am the Plant Prof pretty much everywhere. Facebook, again, I don't do a whole lot on there. I accidentally turned my personal profile into a creator profile. I don't know how I did that. I clicked the wrong thing. And I have way more people on there just under my name than I do on like actually the Plant Prof. But so I do Facebook. I've got a YouTube channel that I have badly neglected. But mostly I do TikTok and Instagram. And yeah, my book Plants to the Rescue, and I was digging around for it earlier, but it's backwards, but
fun.
It's so pretty.
And like
dude.
again, the illustrations are just
so
gorgeous,
awesome, man.
and
So good.
so it's available all the places.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get that.
put
I have
links.
an 8 and a 10-year-old, so I think they would love it.
And that's like right. It's written for like 8 to 12-year-olds, so that's perfect.
Oh, nice.
And I have a couple of podcasts. One is called Planthropology, and I interview like plant scientists and people in the industry and students.
The best
and
name I've ever heard. I can't
Love that, dude.
I love that
pun,
name, dude.
you know?
I love that.
I also am the co-host of a podcast called In the Grow, where we talk about gardening on a budget and then just whatever else we can think of. And they're both available everywhere. And if you're in my area, you can also listen to In the Grow on NPR on Friday mornings.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you got NPR. That's awesome.
Dang.
So it's
That's
through, I work on it or record it with a producer at our local NPR affiliate through our university. It's housed in our university.
It's right there next to the Tiny Desk concert.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. That's so awesome. No, like you were saying, like this is like what I've come to find, like what I've come to realize about like the holidays and this time. Not only is it a time to spend quality time with the family, it's a time to like squish beefs. It's a time to like I've got a grandpa with dementia who's been hospitalized a couple times. Like you might be seeing him for the last time, spend that real quality time and getting those last moments with people or starting fresh with other people as well. It's such a good time and a good opportunity to see those people that you haven't seen in a while and maybe just biting the bullet and being the person that says sorry first or, stuff that you don't like to do. I know I'll be doing that this weekend.
So good for you.
Nice.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's awesome.
No, but absolutely. I'm thankful for, I would say the family and all the stuff, and I am, but I'm definitely thankful as well to the gardening community. I've gotten to meet a lot of people, and I'll continue to meet new people as well as we bring people through the podcast. And I hope all y'all will come back on an episode at one point. How open everyone is to come on and talk about what they got going on and discuss their personal experiences with content creation and gardening in general. And I just want to say thank y'all so much for coming on tonight. You could be doing a million things right now. You could be watching New Girl like I was before I got on, So
grocery shopping.
Grocery shopping. I'm so
We're
sorry.
going with Spider-Man to get pizza.
Oh man, dude, that makes me want to get a Spider-Man costume. Honestly, I don't know if they make them in my size, but I'll get one. But
I'm sure they do.
They definitely do.
I'm sure. Spider Garden guy, Spider.
There's something there.
Yeah, there's something
there
there.
is.
All right. Well, I appreciate y'all coming on. I will put links and everything down in the description so people can go buy your books, follow you. Thank y'all so much for coming on, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much
Thank you guys.
for having us. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's great to meet
you.
you all.